Right. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Una. Happy Thursday. So today we have the lovely Eileen, who's a SDA Seattle member. She is owner of Plumbline Operations, and she was awarded a chapter scholarship to attend EDConnect in 2022. So today she's here for Teach Back, and she's going to recap a few highlights of the sessions as a refresher to all of us, and share her takeaways. So over the next hour, she's going to teach us how to crush it. She'll hone in on Microsoft Teams, then Suites, and then she'll finish it by asking us to share tips and examples of how we use Teams. And then she's going to give us a couple other alternatives. So this is going to be pretty interactive and live. She's going to kind of have that up in the background, and then we'll take some notes as well to share. As I mentioned, she's the owner of Plumbline Operations, which is she consults with architect firms, interior design firms, and just all types of creative firms. And she started doing it with Cross too. So we're very happy with working with her. She's an interior designer by training, 20 years of experience all over the map: hospitality, hotels, restaurants, and she's got a lot of fun facts I learned about her. She's an executive member of a jigsaw puzzle exchange, which is very cool. Founding member of a women's Vespa riding crew. So she's a woman of many talents. So we're super excited that you're here. So thanks for hanging out with us for the next hour. And with that, please take it away.
Great. Thank you so much for the intro. I appreciate it. And I'm so happy to be here with everybody. First, I wanted to say SDA has been awesome since I've joined. It's just a fantastic resource for all kinds of information. I love the coffee chats, the message boards, the quick in 30s, like all these events are fantastic. So today what I'm doing is a teach back on the two of the sessions that I attended during EDConnect 2022 last fall. And then I'll also be diving into some other Microsoft product tips, and then some alternatives in case people are interested in those. So the two sessions that I attended were both around Microsoft Teams. The first one was using Microsoft Teams to get shit done, presented by Nikki Stephen and Julia Lang from Elevate Marketing. And the second one was harnessing MS Teams to boost productivity, presented by Emily Molly-Meyer with Bernardo Willis. So two very similar similar topics, but slightly different approaches, which is interesting. And so I wanted to share how those two sessions changed my life since then. First of all, the inspiration from Get Shit Done. I was talking to a friend of mine who's another designer in the industry, and we actually now have an appointment on our calendars every once in a while that's called GSD, and we've created these accountability buddy sessions. So it is not a Teams trick at all. This is just a life hack that has worked really well for both of us. When we have tasks that we don't really want to do, but we know we need to get done, we will make an appointment with each other. We will get on Zoom or Google Meet or Teams, and for an hour. So, okay, what's the thing you have to do today, Eileen? Okay, what's the thing you have to do today, Sarah? All right, we're doing it right now. And then we check in halfway through. Okay, did you start doing it? How far are you? It's been great. So thank you to whoever named that session, Get Shit Done, it worked. And the other piece was inspiring me to learn more about Teams. I use a whole lot of different programs in my life, from Asana, Monday.com, Trello, Google Docs, Microsoft Suite, all of those things. And so it was really interesting as I was rewatching the sessions from the fall to think about some of the similarities and the differences among all those programs. So I'll mention some of those things as we go along through the process as well. So to start off, I wanted to find out among this group, I assume some people also attended EDConnect and may have seen these same sessions. What tips have you implemented since that EDConnect session, or those two EDConnect sessions, that you would like to share how they've, that they have changed your process working with Microsoft Teams? So if there's anything that you've implemented since then, if you want to drop it in the chat, that would be great. And if no one remembers what they did differently since October, my second question is, what's your favorite thing about Teams?
I've downloaded it, and that's pretty much that. We
That's it.
use
Okay.
it for the board, so the messaging is amazing for us.
Okay.
That
Yeah. Chat feature.
yeah,
Yep.
the chat definitely saves the inbox, so I appreciate that.
Mhm.
Same. I like to keep
Dawn
an
is
email
saying,
for things I need to get done, and the chat's good for that back and forth.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Great for remote work. Yeah. Office emoji, message boards,
yep.
files. Yep. Yes, notification settings is one of those things that I change first, and it's one of the things I'll show you how to do today. Implementing tasks, that's great. Screen sharing, great.
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
A lot of people, more than half people are using it and using a lot of cool features.
Yeah, so that chat one was then that came up a few times, and this
Mhm.
was mentioned in those initial sessions. Some of the best practices whenever you are establishing communication protocols with the team in general are just to do that, just to lay it out very clearly. What was suggested before was to use email really just for one-way communications and external communications with people outside of the firm, and then use Teams and that chat feature within Teams for any of your internal two-way communication, quick questions. Hey, I need some clarification on this task, so that we're not dying and just drowning under email in our inboxes. And then, of course, if you have any contractual documents, anything you need to send in hard copy, that obviously still needs to go through the mail. But using Teams and that chat feature is amazing. It's also nice because you can like save send until later. I do that all the time in Slack as well. And that's a really fantastic feature as well. The other piece is to make sure that everybody on the team has buy-in and that everyone is actually using the same system. It can become really complicated if some people are using Teams and other people are not. You know, we want everybody to be in that same workflow. That's super important. And that gets set from the top down. So whoever is the principal of the firm, the leadership of the firm need to be walking the talk, besides just saying, hey, we're going to use Teams. We need to all be using it together, and everybody's got to buy in, all got to struggle together in terms of the startup. And then the other piece is just rolling it out one piece at a time. You know, change management is so important anytime we're learning some kind of new software or switching our processes. So trying to have everybody change all the things all at once in the middle of doing their normal work is a recipe for not disaster, but it not working. You're going to have a much better success if you just take it in small chunks and roll it out over time. So something that I found really helpful is to start using a new program, and then for the first couple of weeks, every week during team meetings or some other type of piece, is to give little tips and tricks throughout the week. Our brains just don't retain all that information otherwise if it all comes at once. Okay, so then going into the software itself, I'm going to share my screen here. And I have had some technical difficulties this week. So what I'm going to share with you is basically what it looks like out of the box. So you're going to have a couple tabs over here to the left. You've got your activity feed. I have nothing in here, so you're not going to see a lot in there, but if I did, there would be messages and notifications over here. This is the chat screen, so I have just a little test message, but you can chat back and forth with people here. Teams here, this is where you're going to set up your team channels, and I'll go into these a little bit more as well. You can integrate your calendar here, calls, the files piece, that's big. Where you can upload files, make changes, find everything you need to, and then your task by planner here, and then you also can add additional apps. So this would be your tasks. So up here is where your settings are. So first things first, you can change your theme if you want it to be dark, etc., comfy, compact, all those types of things. I like to keep this on so that it's just auto start at whenever I turn on my computer in the morning. But you can change those to whatever you like. I like to have the new chat stay in the main window. Some people prefer the new window. It just means it pops up at a different place. And then some of the other nice features here are turning off the animation. So if this is on, you want to turn that off. That's one of those things that will just take up attention during your day. So I tend to turn off a lot of the notifications and go when I want to go to it. Otherwise, there's little things that come up all day long. It's like popcorn questions where there's like, and it's hard to get anything done and focus. So I like to keep the notifications more streamlined and simplified, and then go find the information when I'm ready to take a break from whatever I'm doing, so I can keep my focus time. There's also a spot here where you can set your out of office. You can do automatic replies, and it'll show up in your status message when you're in or out, or you can set it up in advance if you want to say I'm going on vacation. You can set the time frame well in advance, which is pretty handy. So a couple of the other pieces under the settings menu are hit the general, then under the notifications, this is key. So when people are first using Teams, it is helpful to have these emails come through with any missed activities. You can change it to say as soon as possible, etc., through daily and then off. It is really annoying if you have these emails as soon as possible, because your inbox is then going to get flooded with notifications. What I recommend is that you set it to either every 8 hours or just daily. And then over time, once you get used to using the program, then just shut it off completely, because you want to train yourself to go to Teams to see the notifications and just have that screen up all the time, rather than getting an email, because then it's two places where you have to process the same information. It's just duplicative. Under notification style, the best is to have the Teams built-in notification. You can switch to the Windows one. It's a little bit different, but this is keeps it simple. I like to turn off the message preview and the sound. Again, just trying to reduce the number of distractions and things that are banging and pinging at me all day long. So that's the recommendation I make for everybody. You can also then get your activity notifications. I like to keep these either just to mentions and replies, or you can customize here. So this is you're basically going to get two kinds of notifications from Teams. One is switch back over here, up here, and then you're going to have this little activity thing. But up here is where you're going to get these little pop-up things. I hate them. I always turn them off in every program. Same thing in Outlook. Any other program, I always turn them off. But like I said, it's helpful to have some of these notifications initially when you're first starting to use the program, because you need to get used to going to it. So it kind of prompts you to go there. So you can switch them here. So banner and feed, show only in feed. So I would tend to put only in feed for all of these, or just turn them off, because they're still going to show up in your feed. You're going to see them highlighted in bold. But the personal mentions, you might want to have something give you a banner, because if somebody messages you, it might be something that's somewhat time sensitive. So maybe keep that one on, but I would tend to turn off the other ones. And then new posts, I tend to keep that off as well. And then the channel messages, again, just show it in the feed. It's totally up to you. You can customize everything, but these are my recommendations just to save your sanity. Next, we can go into, and let me just kind of recap on that again. That banner is more of a active notification, because it's going to pop up at you, and the feed is just more passive. So when you see those items in the feed, this thing is going to become bold, and any messages that you have that come in, if they're unread, are going to be in bold. And then you can pop out and you can reply right in there. Any questions on that so far? I think this is kind of basics, but I think it's always helpful to cover those first. Okay.
Chat box looks good. A couple comments about just, always learning something new. So you're doing great.
Good. Okay. All right. So then into the teams. What are teams? So there are teams and then there are channels within that. So you can have multiple teams, and then the channels are the information streams within each team. So typically I would see like an admin team, maybe you have a finance team, there might be a proposals team, and then a team for each project as well, typically in design firms. And then within those, you'll have these channels. So these channels are, you can name them whatever you want. And you'll see if it's bold, that means that there's something new that we haven't seen in there yet. This is just their intro, get the conversation started, but you can start something in there. And then you'll notice when I clicked on it, then it went away. It's not bold anymore. So you can create a new team down here in your settings and hit this button from scratch. If you already have groups or teams set up within your organization under your Microsoft 365 admin account, you can just grab them from there, or you can completely start from scratch. They also have a bunch of great templates. So let's say you're going to do an event, you're going to have an anniversary party for the company, let's say. It pre-populates all of these channels, which is awesome. And then you can also integrate a bunch of apps as well. I tend to just start with the channels, and then I'm going to hit next. I'll say public, anyone in your organization can join, and let's say party. Oops. Ooh. The description is kind of high level. You don't have to put a description in there, but you can. And then underneath the channels here, you can add more channels, or you can rename them underneath here. So let's say maybe instead of content, it's kind of a boring topic. Let's say prizes. And maybe we're going to give something away. I don't know. And then we'll hit create. So while that's creating, you can then invite anybody from your organization to this group, to the team. You can also invite guests as well. So if there is, say, a guest who could be a collaborator, maybe it's like a consultant that you work with a lot, or who's working on a particular project, you can add them as a guest as well. One thing I would caution you about when adding somebody as a guest, if you add them to a channel, they can see what's in the channel. If you add them to the team, they can see everything that's in the team. And so everybody who's in that team or posting on that channel needs to be aware that those guests can see all of those messages. So you just want to make sure that they're not added to something or privy to a conversation that should be more private. So that's just advice there. All right, so under our party here now, we've got our general tab, or our general channel, and then we can also make these bigger and smaller if you want to expand or contract the teams over there if you have a lot of different teams that you're in. Okay, so next, within the team, you can post things here. So you can start up a conversation, and maybe we're going to say, hey, everyone, let's meet Friday to kick this off. And then that is going to notify everybody who's part of that team. They're going to see that pop up in their activity that there's been a post here. So you can add other people, create more channels inside of that, etc. Then here we can add files right here within Teams to the project. So there's nothing in there right now. But let's say we can upload something directly from your computer. You can drag and drop it in, etc. You also can put some notes in here as well. I don't really use the notes part that often. You can, it's like a notebook essentially. It's gonna take a second to load up there. Right. Okay, so this is great, like for meeting minutes, actually, something like that. Let's say you're going to have a project that goes on for a year and you're going to meet every Wednesday about it. You can type your notes here. And then everybody that's on the team can see those notes. It's telling you right here, it can edit, view, edit, and add content. Great. And then you can add more pages, as it's saying. Thank you, Microsoft animator person, for helping me out here. So you can have different notebooks for each different topic. So you could have coordination call notes, internal meeting notes, etc. And then those are all going to show up right over here. Then there's also these more generals. These I think are just added from the template because we said we were going to do an event. So we can put our event overview here. I don't usually use those extra pieces, but they're in there. So let's go back to the admin team. Some more general piece here. Within this, also you'll see a project tracker. And you can create all kinds of lists and wonderful, not connected. And items in here. So let's say, all right, it's being strange. Okay, add a new item here. Ask one, whatever it might be. So that's my work item. You can say what type of category it is, whether it's started or not. You can add a priority, start and end dates. Let's say I'm going to start this today. So it's automatically going to pop up the little calendar. And let's say this task is going to be due next week. And I'm going to assign it to myself. And I can add some notes in here. If it's done. And then I can even add attachments here. So I can add these either from my computer, from my PC, or I can add them also from OneDrive or SharePoint, but it's going to automatically link into my my computer there. So I'm going to hit save on that.
I love that feature. When you share it, is there a way to convert these into like PDF? So for everybody who needs to save them to their work server and project files.
The attachments?
Just these actual project tracker and the notes and stuff, that share option.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you can share it here. It basically is like an Excel spreadsheet, so you can share the tracker list here if somebody wants to have it in a different format. But the beauty of Teams is that it's all in one place. Yeah. And so, because if you were to export this into an Excel spreadsheet or Google Sheets or something like that, then it's not going to live update. The whole idea about Teams is that everybody's working in the same place. And they're all going to be able to see what's live and what's happening right now. Otherwise, you're going back and forth to different documents. And depending on what you're using as your server, whether it's OneDrive, SharePoint, or something else, if they're not syncing, then you can get conflicts of the file as well. One person has it open and then they save and then somebody else saves. If your file structure isn't synced, you're going to end up with some issues. Okay, so that's the very quick overview there. I would love to talk about meetings and calls, but unfortunately, those features are an issue for my computer right now and for my Microsoft account. So if anybody has experience with those and would like to share, I think that's something that we would be open to. I'll give you a few minutes to think about that. And in the meantime, I'll go down to files and dig into that a little bit. So you can access any type of files that are part of the Microsoft world. You'll see that notebook just popped up as well. And then a whole bunch of PDFs of things. I can open this guy up and it's going to open it right within Teams. So I don't even have to leave Teams to open this Excel file. And any changes that I make in here are going to save right away. So it's just an Excel spreadsheet of a whole bunch of tasks, start date, due date, etc. was trying to get these to import into my Teams account, but there are about 3,000 different steps to do that. So did not get them in there for you today. But let's say I want to share this with somebody else. I can share that directly. I can co-edit. So if other people are in this document at the same time, we can be co-editing, and I would see their little bubble pop up here, and then I would see a change in color depending on which cell they're in. So that's pretty awesome to be able to do that, so that you're alive and you're not going to get those version conflicts. Then you can share this with anybody outside your organization as well. If you do this copy link, you can send it in an email. Anybody can edit. You can change the properties there. If you only want people in your org, people with access, people you choose, etc. Maybe you want some people to be able to view it, but not edit it. All kinds of different sharing settings. And then password protection as well. So let's say you're sending out some sensitive information, you only want certain people to be able to see it, you can send them a password as well. And then you even can turn on this block download so they can see it live, but they wouldn't be able to actually download that file, which is pretty handy. And then I'm going to go ahead and close that. Okay. And then tasks by planner. This is an app that you have to add in. It doesn't come right out of the box. It's part of the whole Teams experience, but you do have to add that in. If you click on apps, there's a place you can add it there. So if I had more tasks in here, you would see more information, but you can go ahead and you can add a new task in here. And I'm going to put in a silly one, check email. Haha, don't need a reminder to do that. But I can tell it when I want to do that, etc. And I can just keep adding pieces. I can also look under here, under to do, and I can see what's due for me just today. So if I have due dates in there, let's see if I can make this a little bigger. Let's store this. This is going to be due today. And let's do another task. Okay, so I have to put it into a project. There we go. And then, I don't know, go on vacation. That's a great one. And that's going to be, let's say I'm doing that next week. And I'm going to put that under admin and just put it in the same spot just for funsies. So now I've got something due today and something due next week. If I go here, I should just see the ones that are due today. Nope, it's showing me everything, but I can sort them by the due dates over here. And then I can also see if somebody has assigned tasks to me. So it's just a nice way to filter down when there's tons of tasks within Teams. It gets overwhelming. So these are helpful to just keep it honed down. You can also connect it to your Outlook, and then any flagged emails that you have will pop up in here, and then you can create a task from the email, and I can show you how to do that in a few minutes as well. Are there any questions coming in?
So far, no, but I think there's a lot of interest in the flagged emails because I didn't know about that either. So cool feature.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Great. So let me, okay, I'll come to that when we look into Outlook. And the issue that I had with Microsoft is that these two accounts are not linked, which is why there's nothing populated in here. Kind of hating them this week, but working my way through. One of the other things I wanted to show you is that you can also customize your status up here. So if you are going to be at a meeting or something, you can add that here. Let's say I'm going to be in a meeting until 4 p.m. You can click this button, and then when people start to message you, then they're going to see that and they're going to know, oh, Eileen's busy, I'll come back to her after 4, and they just know not to expect a response until after that time. I can also do a custom status message. So let's say I'm going to say in Tahiti on vacation. you can click that in there, and I'm going to say custom until whatever day, let's say next Friday. And then I can also just schedule my out of office there at the same time. It's reminding me to go do that at the same time. Of course, it didn't save when I did that. One thing at a time. Okay, so that's your status spot. You can also have a setting where you can see when other people are popping on and offline, which might be helpful if there's somebody who works an alternative schedule or something like that, and you want to get notified when this person jumps online. That is also under the settings, and that's under, it's sometimes under people.
If you have a chat going with them, you can also access that from your chat window with them. It's like notify when available.
Yes.
Really
yes,
good
thank
call
you.
out on the alternative schedules. It's like the perfect reason for that, or like a principal that you're like, you're going to get them as soon as their little dot turns
Exactly, they're
green.
going to get out of their meeting. Exactly, right. Okay, so here's the people thing. So it's under settings, notifications, people, and then edit. And then you can add people here, and you're going to get notified when they are available or they go offline. Especially these days now with people working remotely, hybrid, etc. It just helps you not have to like message them and be like, hey, what time are you leaving? Or are you here? That kind of thing. Yeah, use it for good purposes, not for creepy purposes to track somebody's time, right? We're all adults here, but it is handy, like I said, if there's somebody that's hard to reach, you know, or that does work an odd schedule. So those are a couple great tips in there. Let's see, what else did I want to cover here? Talked about files, sharing.
Was a question in the chat box. Looks like you are able to do it, but asked, is it in sync with the Outlook automatic office replies? And it looks like Kelly says that hers does. Where
Yes.
the way message transfers to Teams.
Yes,
So
yes,
is that a
those should
setting?
all connect.
Okay,
Absolutely.
awesome.
Yeah. Is there anyone here that would like to talk about their calendar or calls?
Well, I finally realized on Teams that you could take another call and then the first one goes on hold, but it took a while to figure that it wasn't very user friendly to figure that out. And it had to actually happen. I was leaving chats and then picking up the phone, picking up a call and going back on before I realized I didn't have to do that.
Ah, okay, great. There are a couple settings down here as well where you can forward to voicemail or don't forward. That's kind of a handy one.
Oh.
And then under the custom setup, you can switch your devices as well. So if you're having trouble, if you have a headset, like I notice a few of you guys do.
I never saw that. Look.
See, you
Yeah,
learned something new.
That's handy. Oh,
Perfect.
great. I'm glad. And my goal here
Always.
today is that everybody learns at least one thing.
Yes.
All right, fantastic.
What is the benefit of using calls on Teams? Like, are you assigned a different number and then you're not having to use your regular phone number? Like, what would be some of the advantages?
If you're on a Teams call well, I guess it would have to be, and you can explain, it would have to be connected. Well, it's all computer based, but it's not a different phone number. You're basically that Teams call. If you're on a call and I'm talking to you and we both have Teams, I can call you, but it may be like our Teams is only internal.
Gotcha.
So there's things that we can't do. And like, so I could send you a link and then you can log on to it and stuff, but I can't call you. I can't say, oh, I'm going to look up
Gotcha.
and call. I'm going to look up Gretchen and call her on Teams because we're not in the same company.
Okay.
But it's connected more to your computer. So if it's Outlook connected, you can just click on the phone icon in Teams and call the person.
Cool.
Yeah. And then your contacts also are going to live in here. So if you have a contact that's already in there, you don't have to actually dial their number. with your fingers. You can just click on it and it calls them. Kind of handy, right?
That's a great feature, honestly.
Mhm. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
sometimes you forget who's because we also have it. You can have it. There's an app, so you can have it on your phone. So I'm like, who's calling me on Teams or my cell or so? But it is a great feature.
Yeah, that's pretty handy. Now the other piece that I was not able to get integrated because I typically use Google Calendar is the calendar piece. If you have it synced to your Outlook, anything that you have in Outlook will appear here as well. There is a difficulty with Google Calendar. If anyone has done it successfully, please mention that in the chat because I would love to talk to you about it. I have not been able to get it to work. You can also then create meetings directly in Teams, or you can create meetings from Outlook. And if you have this all synced, your meetings from Outlook are going to show up here. So I am going to pop over into Outlook and share a couple of pieces there. There's a feature about creating meetings that I love that I didn't know for a long time. And so let's pop over there.
Hi, this is Scott Daniels.
Hi.
I was wondering if anybody uses Teams like only for their phone calls. We're trying to switch our systems, and I know some companies like that is their phone system. Is there anybody who uses Teams completely for phone calls?
We looked into it, Scott, and we found the pricing model just wasn't going to work for us. But there is a whole package where it can be your phone system, your like VoIP system. But yeah, a couple years ago, we looked into it because we were using Teams so much more. And it's like, oh, we only need one thing, right? But for us, the pricing didn't work out.
Okay, thanks.
Good to know. Good to know. Great. Okay, so I'm going to pop into Outlook here. And I'm sure many of you are familiar with this. Something that I learned a couple years ago that was a game changer was when you are in a message, let's say, just going to pick this random one at the top, you can actually reply and create a meeting from the message. So let's say you've got 10 people on there and you need to invite all of them to the meeting. Rather than having to copy and paste all of their information, there's a couple of different ways you can do this. One is you can just have the message highlighted right there, and you can click this little button right here. There's your shortcut, Control-Alt-R, reply with meeting, and say yes. And anybody that was on that email is automatically going to be added to the meeting invite. There we go. So this is, just an advertisement, but let's say there were 20 people on that email, they all pop up there. The title of the event is going to be whatever the subject line was. I can move the attendees around as I like to, as you would with any other meeting invite. And then the content of that email chain is going to be in here as well. So if there was some conversation in back and forth and someone said, hey, let's all, meet about this together on Thursday at 2 o'clock, you can just pop right in there and click that button, and it sets it all up for you. You can also create it as a Teams meeting right here within that. And there's also the scheduling assistant, which I'm sure most of you guys know about, but this is pretty handy as well. If you've got multiple attendees, you can see right in here when people are available to attend that meeting. So I'm going to close out of this. I'm not going to save, but that's a pretty handy one. You can also do it directly from the message. So let's say I'm in the message, these three little dots right here, reply with meeting right there. Takes you to the same spot. So like a lot of things, there's 12 different ways to skin the cat, but that's pretty handy. Another piece that I absolutely love in Outlook is quick parts. So quick parts and quick steps, there's two different things. Quick steps are things that you do all the time. Let's say you have the same kind of workflow with different items, like you get a bunch of messages that have to get a certain type of reply, or you want to process them in the same way. You can create quick steps in here. where you move a message that has certain information in it to a certain folder. So like, let's say this ASID Insider, I'm going to say my quick step is going to be moved to a certain folder. So I'm going to say move to folder. My other options here are flag it, make a new email, forward, new meeting, or some custom thing. So I'm going to say move to folder. And where is it going? Okay, there we go. Okay. Oh boy. Let me take a second. But this is really handy if you get a lot of messages that you want to then bulk process. So for example, a lot of the firms that I work with get these notifications when permits are hitting a certain step. And your job is to take all of the permit information from the water authority and the building authority and whomever else and do certain things with that. Well, you can automate a lot of those steps. You can either just have the stuff dump into a certain folder and then deal with them all at once and bulk process those, or you can actually have Outlook process a lot of those very simple things if it is responding, which it is not. Cancel out of that. All right, as soon as that is done, oh no. The other piece that I love is templates, email templates, and those are under quick parts. Has anybody here used quick parts before? Do you know what those are?
Never.
Oh my God, life changing.
I know.
So yes, I might have to close out of this. Okay, all right, it took forever. So you can move to folder and then you just popping back here again. Let's say I want to move it to daily reports or something. You pick whatever your folder is and then, okay, it's going to make me do it. I'm going to say archive. So it's going to move it to this folder. It's going to mark it as red if I want it to, and then finish. Okay. And then I'm going to hit okay. So that's pretty handy. Now I've automatically moved a bunch of things. I never have to see them in my inbox if they are about, you know, water permits or whatever the topic is. If they're from a certain sender, etc., you can create all kinds of rules. So quick parts, let's talk about those. So I'm going to pretend I'm writing a new email. And I'm going to write whatever my little quick part is. So let's say, dear so-and-so.
Are you on two screens, Eileen? I'm not seeing the email
Yep.
you're composing.
Sure am. Let's see if I can pop that in. Okay, let me just reply to this one. I can do it that way. Okay, are you still seeing my screen here? You seeing the reply in line?
Yes, thanks.
Yeah. Okay, great. Okay. Doesn't matter what it says. Okay, so is it going to let me do it from here? Might have to pop it out. Hold on. Yeah, okay. All right, so I got to share this part. Hold on. 1 second. Let me share again. Okay, I'm just checking on the time too, and I keep us going. Okay, so now you should see my whole screen. Yep, okay. All right, so I'm in this message and I've typed out whatever the text is that I want to say multiple times. So then I highlight the text and then I go up here to options. Nope, insert. Yes, okay. Insert, quick parts, and save selection to quick part gallery. So you're going to notice when I did that, I have a whole bunch of other quick parts that are already set up. Saving quick part gallery. Okay, I can name it whatever I want. I can say, dear so-and-so. I can make a description if I want to. Usually I just name it and then leave everything else the same. I'm gonna hit okay. But now let me show you how I'm going to use this. If I start to write a new email and I want to write the same thing that I've written 10,000 times before, I can go to insert, quick parts, and I can choose from this menu of things that I've already done. So I'm going to say notice of routing. Okay, so I've made these myself, and I made the colors what I wanted them to be so that I would remember, okay, for this email, I need to change the things that are in red, and everything else is going to be the same. So this is my subject line, boom, and then I'm going to CC whomever. Now all I have to change is the client name and the address. Everything else about this message is exactly the same every time that we got the information about these plans being routed by DC Water. Now I don't have to write it 10,000 times. That quick part is in there. It sounds really simple, but automating or making these things shortcuts really can save you just a huge amount of time. So love those. Any questions on or how to use those?
Carrie says she uses them for resume replies, which I think are amazing.
Yes.
That's a really
Yeah, I use them for resume replies. I use them for all kinds of stuff. I mean, anything that I find myself writing more than 3 or 4 times, I just make a quick part.
I love
It's
it.
awesome.
Yeah.
And then I want to show you how you can do the same thing if you use Gmail. I know this is supposed to be an Outlook event, but I just want to share this with you because you can use it in your personal life as well, or if you are a Gmail user. So in Gmail, first thing you have to do if you've never used them before is you have to go to settings. We got here by going to settings, and then it takes us to general. And then first we have to go to advanced, and we have to turn on, you have to enable templates. Don't ask me why. I don't know why they're not enabled in the default, but they aren't. So you got to switch it on there. And then you can create a new email, and I'm going to go to compose. And I'm going to start writing an email here. I have tons of templates already saved in my account. So let's say I'm going to send somebody a proposal. Boom. There's my message. And I can just fill in their name, a couple of notes about it, fill in their name again, done. Saves me so much time. So much time. It's amazing. The other thing I wanted to share, if I may, unless there are questions on that.
It looks just there was Dawn had a question. So she says, how reliable is a Teams functionality overall? Do most features work when you need them?
Good question.
No pressure.
I cannot really answer that question for you. I think like all things, once you have it configured, it's great. The trick is like getting all the things set up and integrated. And that can take some time for sure. Does anybody else want to weigh in on the functionality of Teams and reliability of Teams?
Like Evie's got some good comments. Evie, do you want me to read them, or do you want to chat about it?
I can read them. So we've had pretty good success. We do use the Mac version. I don't know if that makes a difference, but we use the Mac version just within our org, kind of the things you've covered, because it gets a little dicey as you stretch outside your organization. But we've had good calls, like not a lot of dropped calls or weird sound on the calls, and chats coming through timely, not like oh, I sent that on Tuesday, and then like 2 days later all your messages pop up or something. So overall it's been really great. It just does like to be turned off and on again from time to time. I think especially if you're moving locations, but that's just like EB lore, that when I go between my different offices, I feel like it gets a little grumpy and just needs to be like have a moment. And then with the video drivers, it can be frustrating if you're on a call with people outside your organization and you're trying to be super polished and get the meeting going on time, and then it's like, would you like to update your drivers? And it's not really a question, it's just you got to do it if you want good use of your call. So it doesn't take long, but it's that's sort of been our annoyance. I had one person who would call me before a meeting to see if Teams needed a driver update so that like she and I could be on the call for the update, because it just really bugged her. But overall 3 years and going.
Okay, great. I'm glad you mentioned the web or the Mac-based version, actually, because it reminded me to share that the web-based version is now very similar. So if you are on this, what I'm sharing today is the PC, the Windows-based desktop app. If you are using the web-based version, it is very similar, but some of the things are going to go in a slightly different order here. This is Microsoft 365, you're going to click into Teams. You can get to all the same information, and they do all live sync. So if you've got some people who are working on the web-based version, some people are working on the desktop app, all of those things are going to integrate, and they're all going to still work in real time. It just looks slightly different. I think that's helpful to know also. It used to be that they were very different, desktop versus website, but they've cleaned that up a bit. Okay. Any other questions in the chat, or can I go to the next item? Great. Okay. Awesome. So the last piece that I wanted to show you is a totally different program. It is called Asana. And I wanted to share this because, hold on, let me make sure I got to the right tab here. Okay. So what is nice about Teams is that all of these things live in one place, but I wanted to just share that there are other options out there as well that do similar types of things. And if you are not in the Microsoft workspace, my favorite is Asana. It integrates with a lot of different things, and it has a lot of the similar functionality. So you can have different projects, you can have different teams of people, you can sort your tasks in the same kinds of ways, you can add due dates, etc. You can, oh my gosh, I totally didn't even show you all of these things in Teams, but this is basically the same. You can have boards to view your different tasks that are within it. And it is strikingly similar. So the fact that I'm showing you in Asana kind of doesn't make a difference because it does all the same stuff. So you can look at it in your board view. Let's say I want to move this to a different spot or move that over there. You can look at things in your timeline view. Now this, I don't think Teams does as well. I think Asana does this better. If I were to assign dates to all of these things, they'll show up in these different sections, but I don't even have to go to a different view to do that. I can just drag it. And I can pop it into whatever section I want to. So let's say they're set up this project in our systems. I'm going to start doing that today. Then next week, I'm going to review the scope of work with the client. I can drag all these items over here, and then I can also adjust the length right here within this view. And now if I were to go back to the board or the list view, those same changes that I just made added on there. So now those dates are now in there. And then back to my list view, the dates are in there. I can also estimate my hours in Asana, which I love. Can't do that in Teams. And then calendar view, now set up the project in our systems, review scope of work with the client. Those are already dropped into those different days. Then there's a dashboard for the project, which is similar to the Teams dashboard, where you can see the number of tasks for the project overall, incomplete tasks by section, total number of tasks. This is a template, so there's nothing done yet, but you can have different tasks in there. So let me go to one that actually has some more info in it. So this is, I'm on the board in DC, a whole bunch of things that I need to do. Things that I've checked off are already done. There's the due dates over there. And then we can also do like chats back and forth within the task in exactly the same way as you do in Teams. So I could ask a question here. I can add somebody. There's nobody else in my team. It's just me because I work by myself. But I could add myself and I could say, hey, what's the status on this? And I can put little smiley faces in here if I want to, because why not? And I can show appreciations. This is the thing I love about Asana. Teams doesn't do this. You can send somebody a narwhal or a party or like a little happy face and they're animated and fun. Just makes life more interesting.
I love that.
And then if I were on the receiving end of this, I will actually, there we go, getting the message to myself from myself about that. But that's pretty fun. I also love that in this program, as you start to check things off, sometimes it gives you a rainbow. If you check enough things off, it will start sending you like rainbow, like ridiculous other things. Trying to get something to show up. After like, there we go, every 4 or 5 tasks, you get like a unicorn that runs across the screen. It's totally goofy, but it really helps just make life more fun. There you go. You can also filter and sort in 25 different kinds of ways. You can go to my tasks. You can go to your inbox. You get notifications just like in Teams. And I just think it's prettier. I like it better. Sorry, Teams. But the downside is that, you know, it only, it doesn't integrate with everything. It does integrate with my timesheet, and I can email myself things from it or to it, which you can also do in Teams. But it's not quite as integrated with like calendar. The file sharing is not quite the same. So it is a little bit of a disconnect there. Anyway, it's 3:55, so I'm going to stop sharing for a second and see what other questions there are. And I also had a poll question for the end.
Awesome. Well, Evie actually let us know that Teams does have a praise. So Evie, spill.
Does? Can you show us?
It does. Let me see if I can show you. Let me
Yes,
let me
I love
put
that.
away all these things on my screen. Let's see how we do it here. Someone else can talk. Oh,
Yeah, we can come back.
someone else talk and I'll come back.
Yeah, we'll come back.
Okay, great. Yeah.
So Kelly had a question, just I think based on, you kind of hit it, but she asked, why would you use Asana and not Teams? So you like the format, the easeability, what else more about Asana?
What else do I like about it? So things that I like about Asana besides the graphics are that there is a way to do portfolios where, let me see if I can switch into another workspace. Where you can plan out workload. So if you are not already doing your planning in something like Deltek or another program like that, you can plan workload within Asana. And you can see, no, this team doesn't have it. You can also create templates for things, which I love. So I have like a sample template for a typical design project. And every time a new project starts, I just copy the template and then all the tasks are already in there and I can pre-assign them for different project managers.
Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah. And in Teams, I think it's just a little more challenging. Okay, so let's see. Okay, I'm sorry. I don't have the capability to show you what that portfolio thing looks like at the moment, but if you message me later, I can send you some screenshots.
That sounds like a perfect solution. Do we want to see if Evie's ready, and otherwise we'll hop to your question?
All right, I'm ready. I learned in my little investigation that only some people in my org had it, like, I don't know, that I can do it with. So can you see my teams?
We can.
Yeah.
Okay, great. And let's see if I can make it bigger. No, I can't. Can you see these tiny little icons down here? Okay.
Yeah.
So it looked like most people in my chat have these first few, you know, like the compose and attach and whatnot. But if you have this one down here with this little award, then that's praise. And so they have some like pre-made ones. And let's see, like my admin, she has all the things, but I like this lion one. Let's go for it. Let's see what happens. So you can put in something else, you know, you were amazing in that public speaking, you can like whatever, do little things. And then when you send it, it puts this big banner on there on the thread.
Very cool. I don't have that. I learned something new. Yay, thank you.
For
Thanks
sure,
for
yeah.
coming too.
Yeah. In Asana, that's called you can have delight or you can have extra delight. You can have the things go by more often into your set.
Awesome.
We have those in the Teams, but not in chats. I wonder if that's a setting. So in
Okay.
Teams, like we could do the praises in the public Teams, but not in individual one-on-one chats.
Oh, good
I'll have
point,
to go
Carrie. I
look for
should have
that.
looked there too.
Is it in the Teams only? I don't know, but I'll go find it because it'd be fun to send those in a private chat as well.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I've
so
got
I
'em in
just demoed
chats.
the chat.
You're in the chat? Okay. I'll have to go look for settings. It's probably something.
But I have to always put that Mac caveat on it.
Things are a little different. Yeah, yeah. Okay, cool. Well, do you want to go to our question? It's 4 o'clock, so it's a good time to wrap up.
You can't scare everybody. We've got a lot of Seattle people. You can't scare them and tell them it's 4 o'clock. It's 1 o'clock for
It's 1 o'clock. Oh, I'm so sorry. It's 4 o'clock in DC.
I think Carol's reaching for the wine. We got to be careful.
Well, I'm with you. It is 4 o'clock in my
It's 5
world
o'clock
too.
somewhere.
Yep, in New York.
There we go.
I've got a thin grip on reality here. You can't say 4 o'clock to me.
I know, we're
It's not
so
gonna
close to a holiday weekend too. I'm so sorry, guys.
For everyone who has to hop off, thank you. And if anybody has a couple extra minutes, Eileen, you want to just
Yeah, so my last question was I just wanted to ask if anybody learned something new today. If there was one new thing that you learned, could you share it in the chat or verbally if you prefer?
I did not know you could do a delay send on chats. I think that's awesome.
same.
Yes.
I love that.
I'm
Yes.
totally gonna do that.
Yeah. Same. Quick parts. I'm with Kelly. That is just such an amazing feature. So that will be something I take from this.
Great. All right. Well, unless there's nothing else. Yeah. Praises, delay send, quick parts. Wonderful.
Yep.
Love it. Love it. Thank you guys so much. It was really great to see you all and happy holiday weekend when we get there. So
I know.
close.
You're so close. You're a couple hours closer.
Yeah.
So thank you. You did amazing. And there were some difficulties, but you killed it. So thanks for hanging out, and everybody else. Happy July. Have a good long holiday weekend. And we'll hopefully see you guys in July. I put the next event in there. So we're going to do a market update and outlook with PSMJ. So we're stoked about having them too. You're our favorite though, Eileen. So don't worry.
Oh, thank you.
All right, guys.
Okay.
Have a good day. Bye, Carol. Bye, Carrie.
Thank you.